It was one of those ideas that formed slowly over time. The more I kept seeing updates about the demolition, Forest Fair Mall had been part of my life for years, not in a sentimental way, but in that familiar background way. Everyone around there knew it. Watching it get torn apart piece by piece made me curious about what it looked like now, before it was completely gone. I told myself I'd go late enough that no crews would be working, but not so late that it felt stupid. I wasn't trying to sneak in or push limits. I just wanted to walk around what was left, take it in, and leave. I'd done that kind of thing before, and most of the time it was quiet, boring even. That's what I expected. When I arrived, the place didn't look sealed or abandoned in the usual sense. It looked damaged. Parts of the building were missing entirely, like someone had scooped chunks out of it. Other sections were still standing, but open to the air, with walls torn away and roofs partially gone. The parking lot was mostly empty, but there were tire marks that told me vehicles had been there recently, not just demolition equipment, cars. I walked in through a wide opening where a wall had already been removed. There was no moment of crossing a threshold, no doors, no clear point where outside became inside. I was just suddenly in it. The first thing that struck me was how careful I had to be. I wasn't walking on smooth floors anymore. The ground was uneven, covered in dust, broken tile, insulation, and bits of metal. Some areas dipped unexpectedly, others sloped just enough to throw off your balance. I watched my feet constantly, which kept my attention focused outward instead of inward. At the beginning, it felt strangely normal. Wind moved through the open sections, and I could hear traffic far off. Occasionally, something shifted or scraped as debris settled. All of it made sense. It felt like a place between states. I followed what used to be one of the main interior paths. Even though the walls were gone or half standing, I could still recognize where stores had been. That familiarity made it easier to keep going than it should have. It gave me a false sense of orientation, like I knew where I was, even though the space no longer worked the same way. I remember checking my phone at one point and being surprised by how long I'd been there. I hadn't felt rushed. I hadn't felt tense. I told myself I'd turn back soon, maybe after one more stretch, one more look. That's when things started to feel off. I became aware of sound behind me. Not a loud noise, not anything sharp, just movement that didn't line up with mine. When I stopped walking, the sound stopped too. I stood there longer than I meant to, listening, waiting for something else to move so I could explain it away. Nothing did. When I started walking again and heard it return, my chest tightened. I tried to stay logical. The acoustics were strange. The place was open. Wind and debris could do odd things. I kept moving, slower now, paying attention. The sound stayed behind me, consistent, controlled, not careless, not random. I didn't turn around right away. I didn't want to confirm that there was someone else there. That hesitation lasted longer than it should have. When I finally did look, I saw a man standing near a partially demolished wall. He didn't look threatening. That was the unsettling part. He was wearing boots, jeans, and a dark jacket. A badge was clipped to his chest. It caught the light immediately, like it was meant to. Nothing else about him stood out. "You're not supposed to be here," he said. His voice was calm, practiced, not raised, not aggressive. The kind of tone that assumes you'll comply. I felt embarrassed before I felt scared. I said I was leaving and took a step back. "You need to come with me," he said. The wording landed wrong. It didn't match what I expected. I told him I'd exit the way I came in. "That's not open anymore," he said, stepping forward just enough to close space without rushing. That was when I noticed someone else behind him, then another person farther back. They weren't obvious at first. They didn't move much. But once I saw them, I couldn't unsee them. None of them spoke. I turned and started walking away, keeping my movements controlled because the ground was bad and falling felt like the worst possible outcome. I heard footsteps follow immediately. My breathing changed without me meaning it to. I focused on keeping it steady, on not panicking. The space felt tighter, even though it was open in places. I realized they were more comfortable there than I was. They didn't slow down. They didn't hesitate. When I started running, they did too. The sound behind me multiplied instantly. Boots on concrete, debris shifting. I could hear how easily they adjusted when I changed direction or slowed down for uneven ground. I nearly fell when the floor dipped without warning, and the surge of fear that hit me then was sharp and physical. My vision narrowed for a moment. I didn't look back. Someone said something behind me. I couldn't tell what it was. The tone was calm, close, and not strained at all, which made it worse. I ran until I reached open air through a wide break where a wall had been removed, and didn't stop until I got to my car. My hands were shaking so badly, I had to sit there for a second before I could start it. I looked back once, even though I didn't want to. They were standing near the edge of the structure, watching. I drove away feeling tight and unsettled, replaying everything in my head. What stayed with me wasn't the running or the fear in the moment. It was how ordinary it all felt. No shouting, no threats, no drama. Just people in a place where no one was clearly in charge, deciding who belonged there and who didn't. I haven't gone back, ever. Thanks for watching No Sleep Tonight. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It truly helps this channel grow. And if you want more unsettling stories, there are 2 more waiting for you on the screen right now. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, sleep well.